No, not Soleimani. Dr. Death that we decided to trade for. And I'm sure you guys thought that was a good trade. Guys, give me a break. We're trying to advance America's agenda and do what's best for this country, and the American people agree with the direction we're going. So, sir, sorry about going on a rant here, because I actually did want to get into your business and the direction that you can take our defense industry, but that couldn't go without answered. And so you and I have already had a conversation. We'll continue the conversation. I look forward to working with you. With that,
Thank you.
I yield back
Thank
to
you,
sir.
Senator Mullin. Senator Warren.
So, Mr. Feinberg, you've been nominated to be Secretary of Defense in charge of DOD's $850 billion budget. Your main qualification is that you have built one of the world's largest private equity companies. You've spent your entire career honing the private equity tools that used to hollow out our businesses, from department stores to veterinary practices. And presumably those are the skills that you would bring to the Department of Defense. So I just want to look at how that's worked. Let's start with how you treat people. In Massachusetts in 2010, your private equity firm bought 6 nonprofit hospitals, turned them into for-profit hospitals called Steward. 10 years later, you cashed out, having made a profit, a little shy of $1 billion, and leaving behind a hospital system that was staggered under a load of debt, and 4 years later, collapsed into bankruptcy. Now, Mr. Feinberg, when we met in my office, you told me that your private equity outfit made an average 23% annual return each year that you owned your hospitals. If Steward Nurses had gotten the same 23% salary increases that your investors effectively got every year, do you know how much they would be paid at the time you sold off your hospitals?
Well, I do know that in 2010, the hospitals were going under, and we were asked...
I'm sorry, Mr. Feinberg, we're going to have very limited time here, and I actually want to spend it on your qualifications to do this job. And it's about how you treat people. The average nurse in the Steward hospitals at the time you bought them made $85,120. At a 23% annual raise, how much money would they be making right now?
I'm not going to do the math. But
okay, I'll do the math for you.
Well, what I could tell you...
$829,828. Now, of course, the nurses didn't do that well. During that same period of time, Kearney Hospital, one of the hospitals you bought in Massachusetts, raised nurses' salaries about 1.5% a year, and that was the best increase across the Steward hospitals that you were running. In other words, you seem to think that when it is time to reorganize a business, that equity should get about 15 times as much return on their investment as the people who actually do the work. So let's take a look at the second issue, and that is maintaining critical functions.
Senator, would you like me to respond to Stewart?
Because a lot of
inaccurate
but
statements.
We also
Mr. Feinberg,
need to maintain
she's
our
entitled to make
security.
a speech.
I apologize.
She's
So
entitled to go on and on.
let us go back to Steward hospitals. Yes. Did you cut fat or did you cut vital functions? Now, Mr. Feinberg, the town of Quincy used to have a full medical center with primary and specialty care, a surgery department, an urgent care department, and a VA clinic. That was its basic function. After your private equity company finished with it, what was left?
Well, when we exited the investment in 2020, the company was doing well.
I'm asking what was left of the Quincy Hospital.
Now,
when you took
Senator,
it over,
he's trying to answer a question. You finally stopped for a breath. Do you intend to let him at least have maybe 20, 30 seconds to answer a question?
Can I have my time back?
Yes, I said you're entitled to make a speech, but you stopped for, you stopped with a question mark, and he started to try to answer the question.
All right. What's the answer to the question? What was left of the Quincy Hospital? That was my question.
A lot's happened after we exited, and there has been mismanagement. We did
By
save...
clarifying question, what was left when you exited?
I'm not certain about that,
It was an emergency room and nothing more.
But we took those hospitals from collapse in 2010. We're going to shut it down as the 10th largest employer of Massachusetts, turned them around, fixed them, grew them, had a tremendous amount of success, worked closely with the governor, and the problems at Stewart happened after we exited the investment.
I am asking about questions as you exited and during the period of time you ran it. Now, of course, a hospital is supposed to provide good quality care, and that takes qualified nurses and other staffers. Mr. Feinberg, for the hospitals that didn't close down during the time you ran it, do you know how many unsafe staffing complaints were filed?
I do know the vast majority of problems happened after we left. And by the way, our nurses were among the highest paid in the country.
Is that a no, that you don't know how much?
I don't know.
How many unsafe staffing complaints were filed? Well, let me tell you, there were over 1,000 filed. That is 5 times the normal rate in Massachusetts.
What year was that?
Look, these are the years that you were in control. For the 2 hospitals.
Senator Warren, perhaps you would like to take another round. But,
No, I'd like to just finish.
No,
I
your
just have
time
a
has
quote.
expired, Senator. Your time has expired.
I
I've
spent a
been-
great deal of that time listening to the chairman tell me how
Senator's
I have to
time has
conduct my
expired.
questions.
Senator's time has
No,
expired.
could I just
Senator
close?
Sullivan.
Could I just close,
Thank you, Mr.
Mr.
Chairman.
Chairman? I'd just like to say why I
Thank you,
care
Mr.
about
Chairman.
this issue.
I have a,
Time has expired. She can have another round.
Mr. Feinberg, thank you for your service and appreciate it.